Hello, everyone. My name is Mark from the Misplay Podcast, and you're listening to Eternal Journey, everyone's favorite Eternal podcast.
Welcome to Eternal Journey, the podcast.
Greetings, all my knights and puntawans. You are listening to Eternal Journey, the podcast that talks about all things eternal with a focus on limited play. I'm your host, Jedi. This is episode 119 of the podcast, where we are going to be breaking down the latest mini campaign from Direwolf Digital by the name of Valley Beyond. And let me say, it is dinosaur themed, and I am super excited about it because who doesn't love dinosaurs? Unless one of you two guys don't, then I guess my bad. But speaking of which, John, welcome back on the show, buddy. How are you?
New set hype. I mean, it's a small mini set with no campaign, but yeah, it's fun cards. I'm excited to talk about them.
Hey, I mean, it's already changing up the meta, so why not, right?
Yep.
Sitting across from him on the internet is Alex Darth Herman 2. What's up, friend?
I'm only here so I don't get fined. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't know much about these cards, but I'm sure they will impact Constructed in a big way for sure.
Well, you better be ready because you're talking about the first one because it's, I think, the only aggro-related one. So, and it's red, so why not? First things first, though, do want to give a shout out to some of the great supporters of the show. Really do appreciate you. I'm So Bad, the Jim Joe, Gunner, Chastity Weaver, Scarlet Harlow, Dizzy Sick, and John Hollett. Wow, I guess 20 days ago. All right, fair. Thanks, John. Thanks for supporting the show, bro.
Yeah.
Being here all the time. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. It really does mean a lot. Keep the lights on and just let us know someone's out there listening to us yap. But that's it. Oh, you know what, John? I should have taken a screenshot of Pack One Pick One of the Scion draft. So we could have done that.
Fun, yeah. Dang.
Yeah, wait a minute. Did I? Hold on. Let me see. Let me check real quick, because maybe I did. But speaking of which, we had the Scion draft this weekend, which is still kind of like on conversation or on topic. One thing I do want to point out that I was super excited to bring up. Nope, that's not it. And that is not it. You know, unfortunately not. I thought I did, but I guess I didn't. These are all just regular screenshots. Womp womp. That's unfortunate. I was really hoping I grabbed one. I guess it crossed my mind. I just didn't, but excuse me. So man, I gotta admit, Direwolf, the devs really do listen to us because multiple times as we've done these campaign reviews on this podcast, we have mentioned that some of these cards are pretty sweet and they'd be great for a draft format or to draft with, but we obviously, because of the nature of the campaigns, they can't put them in the draft formats because, you know, they want you to pay for them. And it's a shame because, you know, at least half the cards in these campaigns don't see play. But in the Scion draft this go around, Direwolf put some of these commons and uncommons and even rares in the set so we could draft them, which was super freaking cool. So thank you, Direwolf. You guys rock. And great job on the Scion draft this go around. I felt like it was really balanced. There was no one archetype that stood above the rest. You can do 5-color nonsense. You can do very focused, low to the ground 2-color aggro. It was great. What do you think, John?
Oh, I agree completely. I think it was it's probably their best Scion format by far because of what you just said. Like some of the other ones where you could just force shadow or, you know, shadow control basically and just go for wins that way. And it was like no one you faced was making plays until turn 3 or 4 ever. Kind of, you know, this one, yeah, you could actually play aggro. I was just saying to the guys, my first Pack One Pick One was actually a call to hit because, you know, I just kind of was feeling out the format and wanted to stay open to playing, you know, multiple colors and yeah, I don't know. I think it was great. So I don't know. It was just their best Scion format by far. I had a lot of fun playing it. Wish I could play more.
I think it just goes to show you how broken Scribe is. That I think that's what that was right there.
Yeah, I mean, I just like they never published a list of the full contents or whatever, so I was just kind of feeling it out, and there was nothing completely busted in the pack, so I was like, I'll just play it safe, inscribe.
All right. Well, with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into what the people are here for, which is our card by card review of the cards of, gosh darn it, I just said it again. What is it? Valley Beyond. So again, I do want to mention, I've mentioned it before, that if you do decide to purchase this with cold hard cash, to go directly to the Direwolf website, where normally the cut that third parties get out of the value, they instead, because they're not getting that cut, they instead transfer extra value to you. But of course, you can always buy it for in-game gold as well without a problem, because Direwolf rocks. But as most of us limited players have the problem with, gold is hard coming because we spend it all on drafting. But all right, that being said, without further ado, let's jump into it. Of course, you can check this out on the YouTube if you're not already, where you can see all the cards on screen. Well, Alex, we're going to start off with you on this one, because I feel like this is the only card that may be relevant to you. When it is a card that we saw in the Scion draft. This is Fevered Dispute. This is a uncommon spell for 3 red, and then you can choose one or the other. Either your units get +1 attack and overwhelm this turn, or, oh wait, no.
Yeah, it's permanent.
Oh, sweet. Oh, that's even better. Oh my god. Or deal 5 damage to a non-dinosaur enemy unit. Of course, this set just came out, so we are seeing dinosaurs making a comeback, but that doesn't mean they're going to see competitive play. Alex, would you run this in any of your aggressive decks, whether it's Rakano, Stone Scar, or just straight mono red?
Like, I think I would, just because of how flexible it is. I would definitely give it a whirl and some brews for sure. I like, pumping your team or getting rid of a threat. Very flexible. Doesn't really cost that much. And yeah, I could see it making a constructed aggro deck for sure.
Do you think it's a full 4 of, or maybe just 2?
Yeah, it's like, I always do odd number stuff, 1, 2, 3, just to try it out, and maybe 2.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I think it's solid, honestly. I mean, obviously its power levels could be based on if there's a meta or a top tier dinosaur deck or not, but I mean, three power to, like you said, especially if you have a more go wide strategy, I think is very powerful. And especially now that I know it's permanent, so you're not even punished, you know what I mean? Like, it's like you got nothing else to do. Just, I mean, granted, the one thing is a spell, not a fast spell, so they kind of can block accordingly. It's not like you can kind of get them, so that is a thing. But I think, the modality of it is essentially what kind of puts that over the top as well. John, what do you think?
I like this card. I think there's kind of been constructed go wide decks before. I think those kind of decks generally want to be low to the ground aggressive, and like probably don't really want to run a market, right? And this, because of the modality, it's very main deckable. It's like some like Bandit Queen type go wide rally deck. Well, you never, like, you kind of felt bad playing rally main deck in that, because sometimes it was more dead than you'd want to be or whatever. And this one being able to either take out something like some lifesteal unit or something that's like even worse in play than buffing your squad. It has that flexibility. I like it a lot. Yeah, 2 or 3 copies, I think, main deck, and then maybe that deck doesn't even need to play a market, which makes it a little more streamlined. And like, I think making the buff permanent gives it even more kind of options for what kind of decks it could go in. Like maybe some deck that cares about the void, bringing cards back, or revenge units, things like that. Yeah, I think it's good. Like you said, the only thing that would make it bad is if Dinosaurs was like a tier 1 deck and everyone was playing it, which would just kind of turn off the other mode. But I really don't think that's going to be the case.
Yeah, and the 2 other things I wanted to mention too is the fact that the overwhelm is permanent. It synergizes very well with late game. I mean, what comes to mind is Syl, right? Giving something else double damage is a good way to kind of sneak in damage that way later on if you can't do them both in the same turn. But also the fact that, I mean, we've been talking about it in the main deck, but this could be a decent market card as well. Just having an extra kill spell on the market if you need to, or an anthem effect.
Sure.
Wouldn't be a bad grab. And you know, it's a little expensive to kind of do 2 in 1 turn, but not impossible, right? If you're doing the 3-cost merchants or the 3-cost grafters. So yeah, all right, cool. I don't remember. It's been a minute. Do we give grades for campaign cards? No, right?
We just kind of
Yeah,
talk about it.
yeah. Okay, cool. That's what I thought. All right, next up is Final Moments. Gosh, the artwork on this is pretty cool. It's a legendary spell for 5, a triple fire. Inscribe. Take an additional turn after this one. The enemy player plays the highest strength unit from their hand. At the end of your next turn, you die. So, like, is this some kind of a... This card is so weird to me because it has to be like an anti-control deck where you don't think they're going to play something busted or like you're go wide. But, I mean, I was kind of on board until they got to play a unit for free. So what's the point of taking an extra turn, right? I just, I don't know. And then paying 5 for that, which means there's a good chance if you're the aggro deck, you're not going to have the ability to play anything else. I mean, I guess maybe for Stone Scar, you can play this and then have the Annihilate or something. I don't know. I'm not necessarily a big fan of this card, and it has inscribed la-di-da-di, but, I mean, you have no idea what your opponent's going to play, and you may or may not have an answer for it, and then you have to win that turn. I don't like this card at all, John.
I'm basically with you. This one just doesn't resonate with me at all. I don't have anything in mind that I want to do with this card. You know, we've got other effects like this in the game as far as like take a turn and then die the next turn, and they're all kind of expensive, and it's like,
but they're not nearly as punishing as this.
Yeah, this one seems like extra weird and bad. I don't know. Like, I know there's ways to kind of peek their hand first, but it's, you know, when this costs 5, it's not trivial to do that on the same turn, right? Like, you know, try to look at their hand and discard their card or whatever. You're like, okay, they only have this one unit, it's gone. Now I can do this. It's like, you were already winning that game, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And then the thing is too is we've seen this effect on a unit, right? I think 2 of the ways to do it are on units already, which helps develop your board. Yeah, I think, yeah, I'm not a big fan of this. I mean, like I said, of course, there's low rolls. There's chances they don't have a unit, or the they have is like a 1/1 or a 2/2 or a smuggler or something. But still, Alex.
Yeah, it's not my style of card to make work. I have no desire to make this card work.
All right, fair enough. Let's move on to the next one. Final moments. These are probably the only moments you're going to get. All right, Alex, jumping into the fun stuff. Do you think, actually, I'll go into the card, and then Alex, you're going to tell me whether John is going to be high on this card or low on this card, because I think we've done this game before, and it kind of worked out to be kind of fun. So, Riva, Crimson Blur is a 2/5 hero dinosaur for 5 red. Flying and charge, summon, deal 2 damage to an enemy. So anything. It could hit a site, it could hit a creature, it could hit an opponent. When Riva hits the enemy player, you get that much power this turn. So of course the kind of I guess quirk here or next level is the fact that you're paying 5, but really she only costs 3 because you get 2 of it back. If you can give her double damage in your hand, I guess she only costs 1. And actually even more than that because she does have charge. So I guess technically she costs 1 if you're able to connect, right? Hold on, enemy. It's the enemy player. So if they block, you don't get the power. But, you know, if they have nothing in the air, of course, if you attack a site, you won't get that as well. So interesting card for sure. Obviously, the biggest thing is double damage, or if you can, I'm trying to think if there's a way to get her to ping. I guess if you have that tandem attack, 3-drop in play, that's another way to get some power back. All right, Alex, you think John's gonna like this card or be low on it?
So it doesn't seem like the type of card that John usually likes in red decks because it's like a spells type of a deck. But I think he would think this card is pretty good.
All right. I mean, it's got some evasion. All right, John, let's find out where you at on Riva.
I think it's cool. Yeah,
Nice.
I
Well
like it.
done, Alex.
Good job.
Got some tricky stuff. It like makes me want to brew with it.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned all kinds of things already. Like there's a card we're going to talk about next that just buffs dinosaurs, which is things dinosaur. So like anything that buffs your team or whatever. Just giving this thing more attack power in any way is going to get you more power back and stuff. And
Caleb's Persuader.
like, yeah, 2/5 flying for 5 is underwhelming, but like you said, it's like on the same turn you can do more after the fact, right? Like it's just pretty easy to get at least some of the power back. Like it's basically minimum it's a 3 cost, right? As long as you had the 5 to play it. So like I don't know, man. This one's looks like fun to brew with.
My only question is that it's at 5, so is it better than its competitors like Eclipse Dragon and the Valkyrie, the 4/4?
No, I think this one's more like, begging to be played in Expedition, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it'll quite make Throne.
I mean, I will say this though: 2 damage, getting 2 power back guarantees you can leave a backlash. What?
Yeah, I always did really like playing that alongside Eclipse Dragon for sure.
Yeah, one of my favorite combos. It's like you just got a warm and fuzzy. You're like, yep, Eclipse Dragon's gonna live this turn. All right, so we'll see. We'll have to find out how Riva plays out. Yeah, it's exciting. I think the interaction, it's going to be definitely difficult to play around because of the fact I guess the summon effect. After that, the subsequent turns is a little easier to play around, but the combination of dealing 2 and then dealing 2 on the face side or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
All right, going into time. Next up is Dinosaur Nest. This is a relic for 2 time. At the start of your turn, play a 1/1 dinosaur with either flying, charge, or killer at random. After the 3rd transform, Dinosaur Nest into Sheltered Valley. Then Sheltered Valley gives all your dinosaurs +2/+2. Alex, high or low?
Well, I think I'm high on this for a dinosaur deck. But
And then what about John?
no.
See, and I'm actually high on this card because I think the value is sweet. So, John?
I like it. I think
Dun-dun-dun.
this is like an enabler for like a dinosaur tribal deck of some sort, right? Like,
or even just relic synergies.
I see this card being like an expedition card, which there's not really any relic matter stuff there, at least right
Fair.
now.
My caveat was other than in a dinosaur deck. So I mean, if you're making a dinosaur deck, this card is awesome.
Yeah, go for it.
I don't know. I just feel like, I mean, yes, you guys are right. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I mean, me personally, I can easily, it comes down early. It counts as a relic, and it has the opportunity to give you 3 bodies plus buff them later, and then buffs their subsequent versions of it, right? Because the first one, if it resolves, right, all your dinosaurs get +2/+2. So maybe you get those 3 dinosaurs, maybe they die, kind of bridging you from the early game to the late game. But then when you play this again, right, then all those dinosaurs are going to be 3/3s off the bat, and then they're all going to be, they're going to transform into 5/5s. So, I don't know, I can see this in some kind of like tradition control deck or something like that. Or even if it is the, I always forget the name of the card. What's that pet card that makes all the bugs that you used to play with, John?
The one that makes bugs.
Makes all your relics cheaper, and then it makes a bunch of bugs, a bunch of 3/3s.
Yeah, like the Aurelian Infestation is like the backside of that one. What's Perilous Research?
Yeah, so like, you know what I mean? I see the application of this because at the end of the day, you can have the opportunity of getting 4 cards off of 1 card, and it only costs you 2. Like, so I think that's pretty strong. But go ahead.
The way it's gated behind turns, I think, really kind of nerfs the power level coming out of the gate. Though, like I don't think this can ever be like, in a tier 1 or tier 2 deck. Like I think it's more for fun, and I think it'll be like effective in a dinosaur deck, but it's like a really bad top deck. It's slow. Like you definitely have to want to play this card. But I think it's a fun one. Like I don't think it's going to be super powerful or anything.
Okay. I'm gonna try it. Maybe I'll try it on tomorrow's stream and run it with some obelisks and stuff like that. Ways to pump it right off the bat.
Right.
Or the other thing, expedition gear. Is that what it is? Gosh, I'm so bad with names.
It is. That's a 6 cost. I mean, like, these things are all kind of slow and expensive. So we'll see.
Fair enough. Yep, fair enough. It's gonna be an interesting card. An interesting card to see how it plays out. Next up, Lured Away. This is a fastball for 2-time. Put a unit on the bottom of its owner's deck. Then that player draws 2 cards. Man, I kind of like this card, but Alex, where's John at on it?
So it's unconditional removal, right? It draws your opponent's 2 cards, but it potentially gets rid of the one thing that's like killing you that you need to get rid of.
Like permanently too.
Yeah, like it's gone. I like it. I think John's gonna like it.
John?
I do like it.
Yeah, we're all agree. I like it too. I think it's sweet. I there's a specific kind of deck that wants it, right? Because giving your opponent two cards is kind of legit, but man, right now as far as Eternal goes, this is as clean removal as it gets. Like this is better than putting things in their market, you know?
Yeah, I mean it's like Time's Devour. A lot of the upside to Devour was, letting you kind of activate your revenge guys and just putting things in the void that you can get back and things like that. So this doesn't have any of that going on. But I don't know, like I think being able to act as a removal spell, whereas Devour can't even remotely do that. Yeah, I think this one has more flexibility because of that. So it's kind of interesting. I think ideally, anytime you're using it as removal, it's to get like an alpha strike in.
Yeah, for sure. Or, if you're a more mid-rangey or low to the ground time deck or Elysian, right? It's very easy to spend 2 and then still have a follow-up play that turn. So.
Yeah, I like it alongside something like a big powerful relic weapon too, right?
Ooh, yeah.
And maybe you have some early game value units that do things like buff your weapons or something, or maybe you're playing something like Dinosaur Nest where your units are kind of free in a sense over a few turns. So this is just kind of like a value card. And then like when you get your 6/8 relic weapon that can attack twice, then it's totally worth giving them 2 cards to get that big attack in. So I don't know, it's interesting.
Yeah, no, and you bring up a very good point. I like, especially in this format where being in time, sometimes your big dirtily guys just get killed right off the bat, and having the insurance policy of, all right, well, you permafrost or you stunned it, or I know you have the annihilate, but I can't not play my creatures. So having this as backup to kind of negate that, very good point. Yeah, I like this card. Excuse me. I think this card's solid. Exciting to see how it shakes up the meta for sure with time decks, and it gives mono time a very good tool as well. Typically they've been running the Predatory Instincts. That's a 1 mana one, and that being you require a creature on the board that's big enough to take out what you're hoping, and that just kind of gets rid of everything. And it lets you cash in your mana dorks too, right? Your little ramp dudes, your 1/1s aren't really doing anything. When you have 7 or 8 power left, you're like, all right, cool, I can cash this in now for 2 new cards that may be more impactful. Next up is Chronostorm. This is a fast spell for 4 time. It has Inscribe, so sweet. Put each attacking enemy unit into its owner's hand, then increase their cost by 1. Alex? He did.
No, I'm not. I was muted. Sorry. Alex, can you repeat the card, please?
Chronostorm. Inscribe. Put each attacking enemy unit into its owner's hand, then increase their cost by 1 for 4 time.
No. I don't like it.
Okay. John, verdict?
I don't really like this one either.
What? I think this card is great. You're going to wreck some fools with this card.
Am I? I'd have to play it though.
Oh my gosh. I think this card is going to end up smashing some people.
I don't know.
You got like it.
Because look, here's the thing too, right? It's on the same cost as was it Pride Leader? But like Okay, so part of the issue with board wipes is there's that like back and forth of knowing when to pull the trigger and when not to, right? Because they're sorcery speed or slow speed. This thing is fast speed, and I mean it. Man, yes, it doesn't kill things, but putting a bunch of stuff back in their hand and just being able to pull the trigger on it when you feel comfortable doing it, and if your opponent has the read, then what are they gonna do? Only attack with like half their things? I don't know. I think this card is gonna be sweet. And if your opponent has the read on it, or you don't need it, you just play it as power.
Yeah, it does have inscribe. It's got that going for it. I'd have to try this one to get on board with it, honestly. Like in my mind, like half of the decks are playing Aegis threats right now, in which case this card like does nothing. And then they also have like, you know, attack triggers and things like that. So it's like, you know, you're letting them war cry so you could bounce it. Their units are cheap anyway, so they don't really like. How much do they even care about this?
Well, here's the flip side to that argument, right? Is that it is a one-sided board wipe. It's only attacking enemy units. So you can go to blocks. Yeah, they get so they get their Warcry triggers, right? You go to blocks, then they play one or two combat tricks to keep their guys alive, and then before those, damage happens, boom, bounce everything back in their hand, and they spent their power playing those combat tricks. What?
Yeah, I'm just like thinking, it's like I'm getting attacked by plunks and stuff.
I think it's like seems like it'd be very good against aggro, but like that's it to me.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem, the Aegis thing is kind of a difficult argument, right? Because it's kind of the flip side as it. Oh, this creature dies to removal, right? Well, yeah. I mean, if people are playing Aegis units, yeah, then every spell is bad until it says it goes
that's
through
just
Aegis.
kind of the meta though right now.
Yeah. All right. Fair.
And like, if they're attacking you with flyers, you're not going to get those combat tricks or whatever. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna have to try this one to get on board with it. We'll see.
Fair enough.
This one's not really up my alley, I guess.
Okay, fair enough.
Other people I've heard are high on it as well, like you. So I don't think you're crazy or anything to like it, but.
Well, I mean, and that's why we have multiple people on this show, right? That way we can have multiple opinions and we don't always agree. So our listeners are getting maximum value.
That's right.
All right, next up is a card I really want to like, but I don't think it's going to play out. Valles Rex is an 8/8 dinosaur for 8 time. Overwhelm, Ambush. Valles Rex costs 1 less for each unit with 4 strength or more in your void. Summon flying this turn, which is super sweet. That part I like. I like the fact that they made Valles Rex able to jump the turn it comes into play. That way it could clearly capture everything you're going up against. I mean, you got to be in a bad spot unless you're milling yourself to have a bunch of 4 and attack. I mean, granted, time can do it, but like I know there's a Xenon deck running around that kind of mills yourself quite a bit, so this guy's kind of cheaper, but are you really getting there? I don't know. I want to like this card, but I think it's going to go the way of the 9/9 in Pledge, Killer, Overwhelm, Reach, Double Damage, Flashback, big guy that had all the keywords that I really wanted to like and never saw play either. So, yeah, I'm low on this card. Alex, what do you think John's at?
Low, for sure.
All right, John?
Yeah, it's a build around, and it's basically only for kind of that deck you mentioned, like some kind of self mill, and even then, it's like a medium. It's like if you get this out on 3 or 4, like I think that's probably good enough to. It's like impactful enough for what you're trying to do, but it's not going to be every game. Even you're going to have some awkward runouts with a deck like that. They always do, and you'll high roll people sometimes, but. I don't know. Like it's strictly a build around card. Like if you're trying to play this card fairly, I think you're just gonna have a bad time.
Yeah, it's like not supposed to work that way. Like, just units going to the void normally. It's no.
Like why won't they kill my Sandstorm Titans?
Yeah, like
play my Atron.
Plus we have the Explorer guy that kind of fits the same role, right? What is he, a 7/7? Except he costs 5 time. You know what I'm talking about? The 7/7 Explore guy for 5.
Zumacan?
Yeah, there you go. So, and I feel he kind of fits a similar role. Granted, this guy has Overwhelm, so that's kind of relevant because you could definitely chump block Zumacon, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think this guy's going to be a thing. All right, going into Justice, we have Lunar Claw. This is a +1/+4 relic weapon for 3 Justice. Summon +3 attack this turn, or choose a non-unit, non-power card from the enemy player's hand. They can't play cards with that name while you have Lunar Claw. So potentially naming a burn spell so they can't break Lunar Claw, or a board wipe so you can continue to play your unit. Alex?
I don't know. I really don't know. I'm going to say no because it seems kind of finicky, but I don't think I don't like it personally.
Yeah, I think the fact that it has to be in their hand as well is another kind of issue, because then it has a chance to just straight up whiff. But I guess, yeah, and the thing is that the +3 attack or choose a non-unit. So like you can't look at their hand and they'll be like, oh, I can't hit anything. Okay, give me the +3. You have to choose before you look at their hand. So yeah, John.
I don't know. I think this is interesting. Possibly good, right? So if you just go for the summon for the plus attack, that's a 4/4 relic weapon for 3. Like that's kind of like unprecedented stats to cost.
Wait, I read it. I thought it was 5. It's 3.
It's summon +3 this turn, so it's a 4/4. If you don't don't try to mess with their hand, and then the next turn it's a 1/4, or however much armor has been chipped away. And there's there's kind of like some armor matters and things like that going on. Even in this set, like we'll talk about a card here, I think in 2 cards that would love this card. So like I don't know, this is like kind of an interesting relic weapon for me. Like I definitely want to brew with this one. I think there'll be some board states in some games, like especially where you're playing this card we're going to mention, where you definitely want to just go for the look at their hand move, right? The only question I'm wondering, like if they have something like Bullseye, I think they can shoot it before you get to look at their hand. So I guess if that's the case, you'd really only want to play this when they're completely, out of power for the turn. But yeah, like in that scenario, shutting off that Bullseye is going to be sick, because that kind of like helps you with the rest of your game plan if you're doing like an armor matters kind of deck. I don't know, this is interesting.
We'll see. Even then, I think there's a fine line there, because it's while you have Lunar Claw, right? So you can
go up to your big weapon with it.
Yeah, exactly. Man, I can see why they put non-unit on there, because they want some counterplay, but at the same time, sometimes being able to snag their bomb like the turn before they play a Svetya or something like that, right?
I don't think it would have been necessarily too powerful to even hit units, but
snagging a menace so they can't just play their menace to kill your Lunar Claw.
Yeah.
I think there's something to be said from what, the fact that it's modal, like you mentioned, I think does have some play. Because, yeah, a 4/4 weapon is pretty powerful, but I guess you're right. I guess I'm intrigued to see what decks kind of want it and see where it goes.
Yeah, I don't think it's just overtly powerful. I think there's some play to it.
Yeah, because, you could definitely smash your opponent or hose your opponent's strategy for sure, right? They're sitting there with like two ice bolts. You look at their hand, you're like, sweet, you can't play ice bolt, and ice bolt can't target claw, so you're in a really good shape. But you can also see it being a little on the awkward side, but we'll find out. So next up is Scale Sworn Patrol. This is a 3/2 paladin for 3 justice, has Inscribe and then Empower. So hold on, Empower is the play your power one, correct? Not your influence.
Yeah, it's the older mechanic. Play a power, do something.
Okay, cool. So we're going back to that, which is sweet. Give Scale Sworn Patrol another one. Wait, Give Scale Swarm Patrol another one of your units and the top unit of your deck +1/+1. So that's kind of cool. I like that. It's pretty sweet. Gives you a reward for paying it later, right? Because you can give it to a unit that can attack this turn. It buffs the next unit, so it kind of has that instant war cry feel. And herself, I like that. This card seems great. Has Inscribe. I mean, a 3/2 for 2 isn't super, or a 3/2 for 3 isn't super exciting. In fact, in some scenarios, it might be under curve or under par for constructed. But I mean, this thing can get, buffed quick, fast, and in a hurry. Especially if you have some type of thing. If you have like Hojen on the board, where you can play a power at fast speed, right? That's a sweet little combat trick you got in your pocket. So yeah, I kind of like this card. Alex, what do you think?
Yeah, me too. It's like, yeah, it's undercosted, like overcosted, right, for constructed 3/2 for 3, but it's like giving you an immediate bonus and then also like a later bonus. So it's like, I think this card is good. I think John would like it.
And if there's 2 on the board, they buff the living daylights out of each other.
Yes, they do. I got wrecked by that.
John?
I like this card. If you look at it like as a 3-drop, yeah, it's a little understated looking, but it's like really more of a 4-drop, right? Like ideally you just play it on 4 and play the power on the same turn. Get the effect immediately, and then it's like a 4/3 for 4, or for a 4/3 for 3, and that lets you like maybe hold up a trick or something.
Yeah, like Aegis or whatnot.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty strong card, and like having Inscribe means like, if you top deck this a little later, there'll be some board states where you've got one in play or some other Empower unit, and you can just play it for power and maybe just win the game or something. It's just a nice flexible card.
Yeah, and Justice has some really sweet targets for this guy right now in the form of Styre's Eyes and Helena and Jada.
Yeah,
right?
worked great also with the newer Hojan. Sometimes him, when he's stuck at 4 as a 4/4, he kind of runs out of things to buff or whatever sometimes. So this would be a way to keep your bigger Hojan rolling as well.
Yeah, the priestess.
Yeah.
That gets you a weapon back when she dies. Like, yeah, a bunch of good targets for this one. Yeah, I like it. I think
it really wants to be in a pretty aggressive deck. Like, I don't think it'll just go in like any Justice mid-range deck or anything like that. I think you just want to be playing units early and often and attacking.
Now, just to verify, this is not going to trigger Renowned, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Just wanted to double check that to see if there was another kind of secondary engine there or not. No. This card seems super freaking cool to me. Gosh, I hope it actually lives up to its name. I'm not sure, but this is Furious Magnaventress, right? Magnaventress. Yeah, I got it right.
Sure.
Wait, what? Did I not?
No, I think that's right. I don't know. Like, I've never seen this word before. I think you got it.
Imaginary world with imaginary names. Furious Magnaventress is a 3/5 dinosaur for 4 double justice, has endurance, summon, gain 3 armor, and stun an enemy unit. So that's what the vicious conscripts were missing, the stun effect. When Furious Magnaventress attacks, it gets strength plus strength and plus health this turn equal to your armor. Oh! So essentially, in a perfect world, this thing will come down, stun your opponent's 1 attacker, and it's gonna be a 3/5. Then the next turn, it attacks as a 6/8. Oh, minimum. And oh shoot, I was gonna say now oh gosh, what is it? The 4/4 Aegis that gives you 4 armor. That was 5. Now it's 4. It's the Elite or something like that.
The Throne Warden.
Throne Warden. There we go. Oh my gosh, that's sick. Oh, that sounds so good. I'm excited for this card personally. It's a dinosaur. It's an Ankylosaurus, which is super cool. They're like little walking tanks. And man, and you guys know me. I'm a sucker for armor. It's one of my pet kind of decks that I wish it was better in the format or in Eternal in general. So, Alex, where do you think Alex or John's gonna be on?
I think he might like it as like not like a combo card, but a card that goes in the armor deck, like the unit that you put in there. On its own, like, it's okay. I think it'd be a really neat constructed, like, limited card. But I'm not super big on it. I don't think John will be, maybe. Yeah.
Okay. You know, I really like this card also as a market grab for anti-aggro decks because this thing is a freaking house, man. It's got endurance, so it can't be permafrosted. You can attack with it and block with it. You grab it with the merchant on 3, play it on 4. It stuns their best attacker, gives you a little bit of life back. Oh God, this card does it all. Yes, and then it dies to removal. Anyways, John, where are you at?
I kind of like it. I think it might even be good. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to play with this one. This was the card I was talking about. Like, would go great with like Lunar Claw on 3. This card
Mhm.
on 4 would be sick. Like, yeah, it it's like kind of a aggressive 4-drop that's also good on defense. It's like kind of does it all except permanently deal with flyers, but like it can stun their flyer maybe if they just have one, unless it's Helena, which of course it is Helena, unfortunately. Um, but maybe your Lunar Claw took out Helena the turn
Yeah.
prior and still has 1 armor left, and then this comes in, gives it 4 more or 3 more armor. So I mean, I don't know. I think this is interesting, and it could be good.
Yeah, it definitely it gives you a little bit of tension as far as when to play your weapon, right? It's like you play your weapon, but you don't want to quite attack with it first, so you get maximum armor out of it, right? But then sometimes you use weapons to finish off things, or so it's interesting. I like the gameplay to this card for
You could
sure.
also play it alongside like a classic. What's the staff, like Staff of Stories? Like play this on 4, get some armor, and then the next turn get your staff down, and it's like a 0/8 instead of, so it's like even sturdier. And this guy
Hmm.
kind of like clog up the ground while you draw cards. Like, so I mean, I think it has some applications other than you know just kind of being a good aggressive slash mid range unit.
Yeah. Well, and the thing too is that like I can't think of too many ways off the top of my head to give it overwhelm, but in Combre with the choice, like, this guy can get in there as a big beater, especially if you gain some additional armor, and then if your opponent goes to chump block and you give this guy overwhelm, it's like a metric ton of damage coming through. So yeah, this is sweet. The flip side to that is of course oh no, wait. When Fierce Magnaventress attacks, it gets no. Okay, so you don't necessarily have to worry about. I mean, I guess they will have a window, right, John? If they attack, the attack trigger will go on the stack, and they can potentially like burn your armor, so they don't get as big as you think you're going to. But once they get the buff, it's permanent until the end of turn.
I'm honestly not sure. Like that's kind of stuff with Eternal. I always have to kind of play with it to be sure.
Yeah, fair, fair. All right, just wanted to throw it out there if there was like a bit of a downfall to get gotten. All right, next up is Finned Herbasaur. This is a 2/2 dinosaur for 2 blue. The first dinosaur and the first spell you play on your turn each cost 1 less. Contract 2, you gain an Aegis. This seems sweet, man. Free snowballs. Rock. What else? Free no, permafrost doesn't count. That's an attachment. Let's see. Snowballs, the bounce something that costs 3 or less spell. Uh Oh wait, hold on. The first dinosaur on your turn. Okay, so it doesn't make your backlashes 1. Free torches. It makes Seer like torch back in the old day. I don't know. I kind of like this card as a 2-drop. If you got some extra power, you contract yourself for Aegis to avoid eavesdropping. I like this guy. I think he's solid. Alex, what do you think?
I think it's a neat little dinosaur. Like, in the type of deck he would go in, it helps you like tempo out your opponent. I like it. I think John will like it.
I'm a little skeptical on this one. It's like it looks like the kind of card that I always want to brew with, and then it just kind of falls short. I'm definitely open minded on it. Like I'm gonna try it and stuff, but the fact that it's like a 2/2 for 2, I don't play a lot of those in any of my constructed decks. It does have some real text on it, but like I think you're gonna have to go so in on like the whole dinosaur theme, and then like dinosaurs and spells. I don't know. Like I just don't know off the top of my head that this will actually get there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm skeptical on this one.
I mean, the thing is for me too is that dinosaurs are so powerful most of the time that just them costing one cheaper, getting them down a turn sooner can make a really big impact on the game, right? Like the behemoth is one that comes to mind, and then that the 3/2 Aegis with Reckless that draws you a dinosaur that people are starting to play again. That card coming down a turn early has been pretty impressive. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I mean, sadly, it is a primal 2-drop, which means it has to compete with Plunk right now, and Drell's kind of on the downswing, but still.
Like, I think the fact that it only hits your first dinosaur like makes me really question whether I should just be playing an actual mana dork instead of this, right?
Yeah, that is a good point. I mean, I guess the flip side to it, right, is that it could potentially give you 2 more power in a turn versus 1.
Yeah, if you do a dinosaur and a spell, I don't know. Like I said, I'm gonna try it. I'm a little skeptical.
It does let you cast the Predatory Instincts for free, so you can play your dinosaur and play a dinosaur turn early and give it killer.
Yeah, I guess ideally you're playing the specifically like the one that buffs dinosaurs and gives killer. I can't remember the name, but Midnight Hunt, is that it?
Yeah, I think that one sounds right. Is that one 2 or 1? It's
I think
1,
that
right?
one's 2. I
think it's 1 because I think it only gives you the +2/+2 if it's a dinosaur.
Yeah, I can't remember. I'm looking at these cards on my Xbox, so it'll take me forever to actually look it up.
No worries. All right, fire. We're gonna have to find out on Finned Herbasaur. All right, next up, Thicket Trap. This is a 2 blue cursed relic. It has inscribed. The cursed player can't have more than 1 armor. I'm off of it. This card sucks. No one play it. Summon, deal 1 damage to the cursed player and each of their units. So it's kind of like what is it? The market card that Yetis and Skycrag decks play. Downpour, Celestial Downpour, Torrential Downpour, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Alex?
I really don't know.
Fair enough. John,
Yeah,
what do you think about this card?
I don't know. It could be good. I think the fact that it has that inscribe means like this is a main deckable card in certain metas. If Armor Matters becomes popular, this will be a card you can play. Like if X1 aggro, is popular, this is a card you'll love to have in your deck. But other than that, like maybe it's not great. In Throne, you could play this in your market as like a market power, slash like you said, there's been times where Torrential Downpour is a card that's in your market. Like this is basically that. Although that one hits sights too, which this one does not, and face. So it was kind of good for that. Like I'd find, sometimes the fact that it could hit sights and face was very relevant in my game. So I don't know if this even quite takes that spot in all cases. I don't know.
I mean, right? It's got a target in the meta right now with that plating or whatnot that everyone's running. So I mean, and like you said, it being inscribed, there is a low cost to adding 1 or 2 in your deck. One question though, the way this is worded, does it kill the weapon when you play it or no? Do you know?
It should. It just says they can't have more than 1 armor. So like
yeah, but then the summon deal 1 damage to cursed player and each their unit. So does for example, if they have plate, when you play this, does it go to 1 armor and then it takes the 1 damage, or does it take the 1 damage and then what I mean? That's what I'm asking.
I think that it should. Yeah, it should kill any relic weapon. Haven't tried it yet, but like it should. So
yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Because typically, as far as I can tell, in Eternal, cards kind of resolve the way they're written, and it has the cursed player can have more than 1 armor first.
Yeah, and if you were able to play this, they obviously don't have a face Aegis either, because it's a cursed relic, so it has to go on their face. So
yeah,
and I think it's interesting that they're putting Inscribe on new things. Like this is a cursed relic, first one with Inscribe, so like I like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's I'm all about more inscribed, man. Anything that leads to less non games, you know. All right,
Okay, this one could be good.
next up is Tragedy, which I'm already sad about because we just saw this new character. Was it Elvina with her Triceratops, and it looks like it's dead now.
I got wrecked.
Gosh darn it, they just keep killing people. I gotta say, at least in their storyline, man, they don't keep heroes around very long. This is like Eternal, the digital Game of Thrones. Jeez, like we literally we have one card of her, I think two, and her dinosaurs bit the bullet. Oh man. Tragedy is a fast spell for 3 primal. Draw a card and discard a card, then deal 2 damage. If 5 or more cards went to your void this turn, deal 8 damage instead. So it's your void, so it's not like for a mill deck. But ignoring that part of it, I think it's 3. But it's fast speed, and you get to dig. I think it's enough value. I feel like it's enough value. I don't know where you're supposed to put. I mean, there's no storm deck in Eternal yet, so it's not like you're gonna be casting like a ton of spells.
I think the easiest way to enable that is just play Eavesdrop on the same turn, I guess. But that still costs 7 total.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like, yeah, there's ways to draw. There's ways to draw and discard, but trying to discard 5 cards in a turn and still having 3 power up, man, that's a pretty hefty cost.
With
like,
the farmer, alongside the farmer, right? You could maybe get there. Twisted Farmer, right? If you summon a bunch of mandrakes when they go to your void, then you play this.
Is there a window there? I'm not sure if there's a window or not. I mean, I guess you can like you can hit him with the Olzeal, right? Evolving Olzeal will discard 2. Then you like what is it? The potion or whatever, the draw and this I've seen some people play in combo decks. Like, I guess you could do it for 6, right? Okay, that checks out. So you play Olzeal on 5, right? You attack. That's gonna put 2 cards in your void. Then you play that potion card, the amplify for 1, that draws extra cards and you discard extra cards for 3. That leaves you. Then you play your power and you do this. Boom, got there.
This looks like a card I'll try, and I don't think it'll ever quite get there.
Yeah, no, and Alex, don't worry. I know this is not up your alley. I'm not gonna bug you about it. But actually, you know what? You were hyped for a variation of this card in Limited. So I'll let you open up this one. Sinister Research is a fast spell for 2 shadow, and then inscribe, and then invoke. Or you can either inscribe it or you can invoke shadow. And then that looks like that's Caleb's custom card guy.
Yeah, it's Dr. Z.
Yeah, there you go. So you were high on the one that you sacrificed a unit and got to invoke Shadow. So what do you think about this card, Sinister Research there, Alex?
I like it. It has inscribe on it. It's like power or an amazing card for 2. Potentially, I like it.
Mm-hmm. And it's fast speed, so you can do it at the end of your opponent's turn. Okay. It does trigger spell matter cards and stuff like that. John?
Yeah, like this could be quite good. I mean, obviously invoke is random, right? But yeah, the fact that this is like a power early and then like one of the best top deck powers like I can think of, it's like, wow, this power is suddenly like anything. It could even be a boat, like.
Yeah, totally. It's like
I'm gonna try this for sure.
For sure. I think this card would be good. Real good.
I was trying to think of a really bad shadow card off the top of my head real quick, but like the only ones I can think of are the get stuff back from your void that died this turn, but this thing's fast speed, so that actually could work. It's like, darn it, because that's probably what I'm gonna get. I'm gonna get the 1/1 flyer that can't block. There you go. That's what I would get.
Oof.
Okay, next up, Blood Sucking Skeeter is a 2/2 insect for 3 shadow. Flying Deadly Lifesteal. Sweet. Spells and weapons can't be played directly on Blood-Sucking Skeeter. Man, I think I like this card. It's just another Deathwing, and Deathwing is great. Granted, Deathwing did have Valkyrie synergies, and it does have one extra toughness, which goes the distance. But I mean, having 8 Valkyries in your or 8 Deathwings in your deck sounds pretty sweet. I mean, let me see. Spells and weapons can't be played on it, but it can be Warcried. It can be buffed in your hand, so it kind of still goes in that deck. I don't know. I like this little bugger. Alex?
I think it's good. I don't know, man. Tell me if it's good, John.
Maybe. I'm not sure. Like, it would be good alongside that Justice card we looked at a minute ago. It would be good alongside Hojan. Yeah, like you said, you can Warcry it. It's resilient to spot removal, right? So I don't know. Like, I think this one has a chance to be good. Like, I'm definitely gonna try this one.
It's versatile, right? I mean, it can block if you need it on defense. It can gain you a little bit of life. It can attack fairly decent. Because it's still a 4-point life swing if it attacks, right? You're draining for 2 and gaining 2. So, yeah, I think the flexibility of it has some application. 2/2, obviously, like, part of the reason Wasp is so strong is because it has ambush. So there is that. But, there's ways of modifying this guy.
Yeah, I think the fact that it can't be hit by removal, right? Because this would die to anything, call to hit, bullseye, but it can't. So, I think it definitely has a chance.
Yeah, I think this guy's good. I think this guy's good. We'll find out. I have a mono shadow deck I'm playing in Throne right now, so I'll just put him and the Sinister Research in both of them. Next up, Caravan Harpoon. It's a +5/+2 relic weapon for 5 shadow. Summon. You may, so you don't have to do this, sacrifice a unit with Deadly Lifesteal, Quick Draw, or Unblockable. Caravan Harpoon gets that unit's strength and any of those skills that the unit had. Sweet, so you just sacrifice your Blood-Sucking Skeeter, and this weapon's got it all. Minus Unblockable, which would be the important one. Yeah, you're not wrong. Man, for this thing being 5 attack, I really want to sack something with Unblockable. There's one Unblockable unit that has Revenge, doesn't it?
I'm not thinking of one off the top of my head. I mean, don't forget about Deadly and Quick Draw. Like, that's like better than Unblockable, isn't it? Like, if you give a relic weapon Deadly and Quick Draw.
That's sweet. Yeah, I think they were cognizant of that. That's why they only gave it 2 armor. But if you put in Argentport and it comes down the turn after you play your oh shoot, I don't remember the name.
Or the 3/2 Stone Scar guy.
Magnaventress.
Well, that has Overwhelm and Deadly.
Oh, Overwhelm and Deadly. That's right. Not first.
Yeah, for this relic weapon, you want Quick Draw and Deadly or Unblockable, I think. And like Lifesteal, like that's just kind of gravy if you can get that too. But like a Deadly Quick Draw 5/2 weapon will just kill anything repeatedly.
Sweet. Oh,
this is interesting.
Yeah.
This one could be good.
Five's a lot though. 5's a lot though.
Yeah, that's like the big kind of
And like you mentioned, whatchamacallit's still in the metal, Bullseye.
Yeah, and there's only so many units with Deadly and Quick Draw like off the bat that you can play alongside this. So I don't know if this will quite get there, but I'm definitely gonna give it a try.
Well, you might Windvoke them off of Sinister Research.
Sure.
All right, that will do it with Shadow, which takes us into our multi-faction cards, starting off with Abundance, which was already the source of a nerf. Real quick, there was some convoluted combo there. You can make like 20 something Davias or something like that on turn 4, but oh my gosh, did it make my brain hurt when people were trying to write out the combo in Discord. But Direwolf in their typical we don't like combo fashion already nerfed it, so there you go. It was using Praxis Trove, Treasure Trove, Praxis Trove, yep. to kind of combo off with spells. Which, I mean, I'll be honest with you, it's a little unfortunate that because I thought Praxis Trove was already kind of a cool build around, and it was within reason. It's unfortunate that it had to see the nerf bat because of another card they just printed. But I mean, that's normally the way it goes, right? Whenever, if it's between two cards that they have to nerf in a combo, they're going to nerf the older one that people have already played with. So Abundance is a fast spell for 1 Praxis. Play a random unit with cost equal to the number of spells and units you've played this turn. You gain 3 life. Alex.
Yeah. I don't like it.
That's a solid response. I'm kind of right there with you as well. I'm not a big fan of random, and I don't really feel like, I think I mentioned earlier about storm decks. John?
This was like actually the first card out of the set I brewed with, and I was doing fair stuff with it, relatively fair. I think there's like most of the cards that I think work best with this are in Shadow, but there's like some fire ones, like in Expedition. There's is it Recycle? Only 2 cost, plays 3 things, so that gets it up to 4 right there, and then 5 is the Abundance itself. So like with just those 2 cards, you can play like a 5-drop for 1 at fast speed. So I think this has like a surprising amount of support to actually make decks. I don't know if any of those decks are good, but I think it's like a decent card. Like I think it's fun to brew around. Like I was kind of mentioning, Shadow has a lot of the other good units that go with it, like Rat King and the Farmer. And this is fast and only costs 1. So like,
Well, so hold on, because there's a bit of a nombo there. Like, not to knock your strategy. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. So if you play a fast spell, right, then it has to be the make 3 dudes, the recycle, like you mentioned. But like, are you really getting there if you're playing recycle just to make this?
well, if you're if in that kind of deck, you're probably like a go wide deck.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like it's kind of the deck that I brewed first.
But then going back to your Shadow thing, then for both the 2 guys you met, well, I guess Ambusher is different, but the Rat King, like, you're still doing this at slow speed, right? Because it says on your turn, yeah.
Sure, sometimes you play it on your turn, but like it's most impactful when you can do it, mid combat for the opponent, because then it gives you a chance to like get a nice ambush with it as well. I mean, not actual ambush, right? Like it doesn't work to intercept a relic weapon attack, but like when your opponent's attacking you, suddenly you could have something significant in play for 1 plus whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think it has some stuff going on that actually that actually matters. So like I don't think it's just like a trash card. And like this one just piqued my interest. So and like obviously there's some busted stuff you could do with it, but not anymore, because that Praxis Trove literally just got nerfed today. But yeah, I tried that. That was fun.
Fair enough. We're gonna have to see how this one plays out. Next up, Carnivorous Yearling. Yearling is a 2/1 dinosaur for 3 Rakano, Overwhelm, then summon +2/+2 and lifesteal, or draw another Carnivorous Yearling from your deck. So right off the bat, this kind of I kind of want to do the combo with that we saw with the construct that kept doing the same thing, right? But with Nostrix, because you attack with this and Nostrix, and then it buffs all the ones in your deck, which is kind of sweet. But man, I just like a 4/3 overwhelming lifesteal for 3. Honestly, I think this card is freaking solid in Rakano, man. Like, and it's only 1 influence of each, so it kind of puts up an argument against Varbuk. I like this card. I like this card quite a bit. It's not, don't get me wrong, I don't think it's busted. I don't think it's absolutely backbreaking, but man, I think it's going to be pretty solid in the old Rakano decks for sure. So yeah, I like it. Alex?
I'm going to defer to you guys on this one. Better constructed players.
Mm-hmm.
Would you play it in your aggro deck, or is it too slow for you?
I would definitely try it, and it would be like, let's see if this is good. But I'm not sold 100% that I would play it in the deck.
Okay. All right, John.
Yeah, I think this might be good. uh, I don't know. Like I think there's like maybe some heavier hitters, but like it does have that flexibility. That means you could also do some brewing with it. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, and like I think the fail case is not bad. So this got to be, it's got to be like, it's got to make some decks, right?
2 words for you, bro. Caleb's Persuader. Play this thing on 3, right? You have a sweet 4/3 overwhelming lifesteal just sitting there foaming at the mouth. and then you give it a shotgun. and it just gets in there for what? Caleb's Persuader is +3/+3, right? Uh
Yeah.
+3/+3. So this thing goes to a 7/6 overwhelming lifesteal that domes your opponent for 2 while you gain 2. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And then they gives you your 5th power for your Eclipse Dragon the following turn. We're going ham, baby.
Let's go.
Play this with Helena the subsequent turn. Your opponent's just dead. They're just dead. That's it. That's the curve, man.
Dinosaurs
You
with
just-
shotguns.
Exactly. That's where it's at, man.
You love
They're
that
they're
Caleb
evolving.
Persuader, man.
It's so good. It's bang.
Pretty good.
I mean, once again though, overwhelming lifesteal. Like, can you think of a better shotgun target? All right, moving on.
But that's pretty good.
Moving on, Timeless Bond is a 3 Combre fast spell. Play a sigil of your choice from your deck, depleted. So we've seen this effect quite a bit. Give 2 of your units +1/+1 permanently. So kind of a combination of 2 cards slapped together for the same price, actually. So you're getting one of these variations of fairly cheap. Like, pay 3 to ramp depleted sigil. We've seen that. That's kind of the standard for Eternal. And I mean, it's in Combre, right? We haven't seen the new Alessi kind of make a splash yet, but I mean, I like this card. It kind of splits the difference, right? If you're ramping on 3, you may not get maximum value off of the +1/+1. You could, but you may not, right? Maybe you didn't play a 1-drop or whatnot. But later in the game where you may not need that sigil anymore, unless you have some power triggers, well, all of a sudden now it's a combat trick that could be fairly effective. And if you have something like Hojin on the board, where you can capitalize both sides of it, playing the sigil at fast speed as well as doing the +1/+1 on 2 of your units, like, this card, it's flexible. They really did a good job of kind of adding a lot of flexibility to these cards in this campaign in particular. I would not be surprised to see a lot more of these cards see play, but I kind of like this card. Once again, I don't think this is amazing. It's definitely not a shotgun wielding dinosaur, but I wouldn't fault anyone for playing this. I think the power level's there. John, what do you think?
Yeah, I think you basically said everything I had in mind. It does, it could trigger 2 Kira's and Play's abilities, right? It works like that too. It costing 3 kind of pigeonholes it a little bit as far as like you're not just gonna run this in like any Combre deck or anything like that. But this is like maybe the most like thrown playable card that we've looked at so far. Because there's definitely some decks that can run this. I think you want to either really want that extra influence of the sigil that it plays, or like you mentioned in power triggers, or actually have something to ramp to want to play this card. Like, I don't think you just take a traditional build of like Combre Kira and slam it in there. But I think this card has some utility to it for sure. Like, I think it's pretty solid.
Yeah, you can also somewhat kind of build your curve around it. Maybe play a few less 3s and a few more 4s. So you kind of anticipate going 1, 2, ramp this, and then play your 4. Well, or 5, I'm sorry. You skip 4. I apologize. Skip 4. The one thing, too, that I don't know if I made it clear or not is that it is a sigil, so it's not going to be fixing. I mean, I guess in the basic terms, it is fixing, but you get what I'm saying. Like, you can't get dual power with it. Alex, do you have anything to add?
I was going to say this card will definitely find a home in some decks for sure.
All right, moving on. John, you can take a point on this one because it does have Windvoke. Valley Spring is a relic for 3 Elysian. When you create and draw a card, reduce its cost by 1. More free snowballs. Ultimate, at the start of your turn, Windvoke Elysian. What do you think, John?
I'm not sure about this one. The fact that you have to wait a turn to get the invoke and it costs 3, and the other ability is kind of like, I think it's a build around card, and I'm still not sure that it's gonna ever actually be good. Like, I've kind of brewed with like decks kind of like this, like it reminds me of like a transform deck support cards,
Transform
and like
matters.
it just never quite gets there. Like, no matter how hard I try, no matter how hard I want it to actually be good or competitive in some way, like, I don't know, these decks are always just kind of seem to be closer to meme territory. Like, I'm sure I'll brew with this. I'm sure I'll try it, but like, yeah, I'm highly skeptical about this one.
I mean, at least it makes your treasure troves cost 1.
Man, if we still had the old
Joe.
Silixes and stuff, and yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't think this will ever just be like a great card, but yeah, I'm gonna try it.
Yeah, it's very theme. It's very niche, very build around ish for sure. Like, you want to be capitalizing on the whole create a card. Now, granted, it will, Windvoking does create a card, so it will reduce the cost of that as well. But you never know what you're gonna get, anyways. And John or Alex, I know you're already like off of it, so we'll move on. Next up is Huntmaster Vikram. Vikram. Let's go Vikram. That sounds a little more vicious. Huntmaster Vikram is a 2/3 hero for Elf Rogue. 4 double Xenon. Summon, exhaust an enemy unit. Steal it while you have Vikram. If there are no enemy units, Vikram gets +3 strength and charge instead. So he comes down as a 5/3 with charge for 4 if they don't have a unit. If they, wait, hold on. May while you have Vikram. Okay, so it's not a may. So keep that in mind. It's not a may. It has to happen. I do kind of like the fact that it exhausts the unit, because that way it kind of gives you removal protection, right? If you grab the unit, you swing, and then they kill Vikram, they don't get their unit back where they could block your other attackers. So that gives you a little bit of a warm and fuzzy, right? And and then I do like the fact that he's just a beater if they don't have a unit, so it doesn't punish you for playing him against control decks. That being said, well, I guess he's never going to be... yeah, that being said, man, a 2/3... for 4, that's kind of influence heavy. It's a pseudo removal spell. I don't know. It's flexible, but I don't know if the combination of his parts make the whole better than what you could be playing for less influence requirements, especially in Xenon. Like, that's such a strong color combination. I don't know. Alex, what do you think of Vikram?
Like, I want it to be good, but I don't think it'll see much play.
Fair. John?
Yeah, I'm like right there with you guys on this one. Like, the 4 pips of influence is like a big turnoff for me, and like, it does have kind of like some fail case, right? Like, even if they have no board, it gets in there one time, but like, if they have no board, they probably have removal, right? If they haven't been playing units. So, and he's only got 3 health. So, and then, like, I don't know if you guys picked up on this, but it like, if they have a unit in play and it's an endurance unit, it just does nothing, right? Like,
oh god, I didn't even think about that. I always forget about that.
Yeah,
So
so you can't exhaust a endurance unit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so there'll be some board states where like this actually does nothing. It's just a 2/3 for 4. And then like
Yeah.
if their only unit's like an Aegis unit, then it just pops Aegis, and then it's a sad 2/3 as well. So like I think there's a lot of board states that will come up with Helena and Plunk being so popular, where this card basically does nothing. So I don't think this is actually going to get there.
Yeah. You know, I will take this moment to like give a shout out to the devs again. I gotta say, Direwolf devs have done a great job capitalizing the design space in this digital only format. Like they're constantly coming up with new mechanics and new things that are super cool, and I commend them on the design of Vikram. I think he's a cool design. But yeah, I think you're right. The cards that are being played and the way the games are playing out, I don't think it's gonna play out very well.
Yeah,
All right.
like maybe, because it's an elf, I think there's a chance, but like that elf deck has never quite gotten there either. And like maybe it'll be okay as a market card, but it's
Yeah.
like slow. Like
Yeah. If you're Doctor was it if the gosh darn it, if Caleb, I always forget the name of it now, but if Caleb's promo doctor didn't really see a lot of play, I don't think this guy's going to either.
right. I mean that's stole from the void, right? Instead of something in play though.
Yeah.
They had that other one.
Or no, am I thinking of Zito? Maybe I'm thinking of Zito.
It's not Zito. It's gosh, it was that other shadow guy, right? Like
Dizzo.
it was Dizzo. It was like young Dizzo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that really didn't see much play either.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like this is on the same boat. Yeah.
This was much harder to cast.
Yeah, I mean, they must have felt that there was too much power here or something, because I mean, that's a double Xenon is on 4 is a lot. That's costly.
Yeah, like you'd think this might be like an expedition card, but that's like a lot of influence for expedition.
For real.
Right.
Okay. Let's go on to the next one. We're coming to a close here. Lethrai Gambit is a fast spell for 2 Feln. Stun an enemy unit and deal 3 damage to the enemy player. Lethrai Gambit has lifesteal if there's an attacking enemy unit. So, I mean, it gives you a little bit of a perk based on playing it more or less at the time that you want to be playing it, right? As a defensive spell. I guess you could do it offensively to get your attackers in. I think this card is just fine, but I think you just want to either be straight up killing the unit or there's better stun effects out there. I think this kind of... I don't think this is a bad card, but I think that it's going into a slot that's highly contested, and it just doesn't really do enough, personally. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. I think it's just okay. Like, I'm not going to fault anyone for playing it, but I don't really see it making too many decks. What do you think, John?
Man, this would be a sweet limited card. This is the first one I'm like, why is this in a campaign and not just in a set as like a limited card?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't see this seeing any constructed play, honestly.
Yep.
Yeah, right there with you guys.
All right, last one is a legendary, and it's factionless, which is sweet. So you can try all kinds of brews. Sacred Tableau. Tableau, John?
Yeah, Tableau.
Tableau is a relic for 5. Sacred Tableau can't be killed if you have a dinosaur. At the start of your turn, play the top card of your deck if it is a power card or has a unique name among cards in your deck. So of course the low-hanging fruit with this one is you put a bunch of portals in your deck and a bunch of one-ofs and go to town. I mean, fun build around. It could be powerful. I don't want to knock it. I mean, playing free cards is always a strong thing, and it ramps you at the very least. So that's pretty sweet, right? You do want to adjust the kind of spells you put in your deck, because it will try to cast them regardless. And if there's no targets, they just go bye-bye, I believe. I will have to see how it plays out. But yeah, I think this card is fine. Once again, I don't want to knock it, but I think if you build a deck around it, it could be pretty sweet. I've seen the ability of things like Beacon and Portal both do great things in decks. Just there's a big enough card pool in Eternal where you can do a bunch of one-ofs and still not sacrifice too much card quality in your deck. So it is 5 though, so it takes a second to get there, but it's at the start of your turn, so you have to go full cycle to get a card out of it. So it essentially is a do nothing relic the turn you play it, but the value is there. John?
I agree with everything you said. It's like, it's a sweet build around that has enough going on where I think a good deck with this, as its like signature value card, I think could be not great, but good, and like, you could definitely ladder with a deck like built around this, I think. So yeah, this is a fun one that I'm definitely gonna brew with. I don't love that the whole can't be killed thing is tied to having a dinosaur. I think that does pigeonhole the deck more than I would prefer. But I mean, we saw a portal deck actually do well in competitive play before, so maybe they were concerned that without the dinosaur rider on this, like a deck like that could be too powerful. I don't know. Yeah, it's a fun card. It's actually kind of good.
Oh man, we need to get a dinosaur site. We need to get Jurassic Park in Eternal.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that'd be sweet. Yeah. Maybe yeah. Like creation colors or something. I don't know, that'd be fun.
I mean, they just the promo card was a dinosaur mountain. Just make another dinosaur it's a mount, like a walking fortress or something. I think it'd be cool. I mean, we got a dojo that dies to everything and gives your opponent cards. So like, why couldn't they make a dinosaur site,
Yeah, why not?
Crying out loud. Anywho, yeah, here, let me give you a site that lets you draw an answer to this site. Anywho, Alex, what do you think about Sacred Tableau?
I can't wait for John or IP to brew and then play with the deck that they come up with this card. It looks super fun.
Yeah, nice. Super exciting. All right, sweet. Yeah, man, I think this campaign is solid. I think this is one of the heavy hitters, honestly. I mean, granted, how many must-have cards are in the campaign is yet to be established, but I think there's an even balance of good cards. We didn't really poo-poo on too many of them. We did on a couple, but that's fine. Like, we can't expect it to be a complete home run, but man, there's a lot of good cards in this and a lot of questionables, which is exciting because you don't know what direction the meta is going to go in. So shout out to Direwolf. I think this one's a winner, John. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this one has a lot of cards that are getting my brew juices going. I think it's a fun set. I think this one's like, it's like almost like a fan service set with some power there for sure. Yeah, I'm excited to play with these cards. I'm not sure any of these are gonna like, be big play. Like, do you guys think any of these cards are gonna actually make a deck in Worlds coming up in a couple weeks? Like, I'm not sure that any of these will, personally.
If any of them, I think it might be Scale Sworn Patrol, maybe.
Yeah, maybe one of those aggressive cards, maybe.
Yeah, and then Sinister Research, but I mean, that's just because it's efficient, not because it's broken. Those are the only two that really stand out to me.
Yeah. So, like, yeah, I'm not sure. Like, this isn't like an Awakening set or anything like that, but I think this one's going to be a fan favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a very good point that you mentioned. I think the interesting part to this set is that there's no, and there, I mean, granted, there's Final Moments, which is a pretty low card, but I think they didn't go super low, but they also didn't go really high, right? They kind of kept it in that safe, happy medium, and I think that's fine. That's great, where it's not like, oh, you need this campaign for 2 cards and everything else is trash, right? So, yeah, I like it. Alex, what do you think?
Yeah, overall, I think if you like dinosaurs, it's like, woohoo, which I do, so I'm down with the set for sure. And a lot of cards that are very, what is it, the word, like, useful, but not necessarily for high-powered constructed decks, but definitely fun to brew with. And yeah, I don't see any like, oh my gosh, this card is will be a must-have. You know.
Nice. All right. Well, I think that will do it for tonight. We'll go ahead and call it a show there, guys. So thank you, everyone, for listening. Really do appreciate you. Good luck for all of these people competing in Worlds if we don't have another show until then. And, of course, I think you're solid to try to pick up this set. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let me know if you guys have any brews or whatever. Hit us up in the Discord or in Twitch or whatnot about what you're brewing with it. But I'll do it. So until next time, as always, friends, happy gaming.
Watch out for shotgun-wielding dinosaurs.
Good luck with your brews, everyone.
You were holding on to that one for how long?